Hi, so I'm joined by Lizzy Hodcroft, entrepreneur and founder of the Sweet Beet, originally from Texas, I believe, Lizzy. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm Lizzy Hodcroft, as I said, founder of the Sweet Beet. We have been going for a little over a year now, selling, creating, and designing alternative condiments to go into the retail sector here in the UK.
Excellent. So you're going to come and speak at the next Business Growth Summit. What will you be talking about, Lizzy?
So I will be touching a little bit on my own personal journey through entrepreneurship and also the process that I've been through setting up my business. Essentially, I'm going to really just be as honest as possible with those attending about how my business saved my life, and why resilience is so important to any entrepreneur, especially within the startup space. I think that celebrating success that we do achieve is important, reflecting on the failures that happen in order to learn from them, and really having an intrinsic knowledge of your strengths and weaknesses is one of the most powerful tools that you can access as an entrepreneur.
Mhm. I think one of the ingredients that I talk about on my summit of, the sort of key ingredients that are needed to really grow and scale a business are, and I think it's often overlooked, is that of mindset. I mean, it's fine, it's good to have great marketing and sales processes and all those sorts of things, but if you don't have the right mindset, then you'll struggle to grow your business and make it a success. Why do you think mindset is so important to you in terms of what you've achieved so far?
Well, I think that when any of us first decide to cut ties with the 9 to 5, we do so with no idea about how the future will pan out. But this is part of what makes entrepreneurship so exciting, liberating, and fulfilling. However, I do think that it's safe to say that many of us are not prepared for how lonely the journey can be and the challenges that come across us when we're following our passion, especially the aspect of your business starting to affect your personal life and well-being. But changing your mindset can really help you to make the right decisions moving forward and keep that fire in your belly that gets you getting up and motivated every day to face the world.
hmm And I think in your business, you've sort of increased sales quite significantly, month on month. I think you stocked, in quite a lot of places now. Apart from obviously having the right mindset, perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about what's propelled the growth of your business, and just sort of share a little bit of an insight into the Sweet Beet and your entrepreneurial journey.
So I think one of the things that's probably helped me out more than anything was in the early days joining a business accelerator incubator. And the one that I was a part of was the NatWest Business Accelerator. And it is a great way to start a network for yourself, but also to get some insight as to how to structure a business to move forward. But also just mentors have been some of the greatest tools that I've had as far as being able to talk with businesses that have been there, done it, been through the process that I'm trying to go through,
Mhm.
that can help put us in line and align ourselves with promotion and sales and knowing how to push our brand forward.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, and I know that well-being and mental health is something that's quite close to your heart, and just perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I think that for me, finding entrepreneurship really started this journey of recovery and self-discovery. But at the same time, I think that it really can knock your confidence and make you question your place in the world and whether you're on the right path. There's no
Mhm,
one else to blame but yourself when things go wrong and it's your business. So it's
mhm,
figuring out how to be gentle with yourself, but also,
mhm,
and more importantly, learn from the mistakes that you make to make sure that you're not going to repeat them again.
mhm, mhm. Okay, super. So I talk about 94% of business startups in the UK fail within the first 5 years. Only 100 in 10,000 make it to £1 million revenue, and only 1 in 10,000 make it to 10 million. So it's pretty tough for entrepreneurs. It's not, I think there's a lot of hype around setting up a business and becoming an entrepreneur. But actually, the reality is it's probably one of the toughest career choices people can make. And when you actually do start to make it and you start to look at how you can grow, accessing finance and capital to be able to do that is pretty tough. You know, you can go to the bank, but you probably have to sign your life away and all your personal possessions as guarantees, or you can maybe go down the private equity route to, you know, raise some serious capital, but that can be quite expensive. I know that you've been through that sort of journey in terms of raising finance for an investment within your own business. Can you perhaps just share a little bit about what you did and how you went about sort of raising finance and how that sort of helped you in terms of being able to grow your business so far?
So we have, in the very early days, we did kind of a crowdfunding type thing, which was really more of an exercise of seeing how far our reach went. But what was more interesting about that is we weren't even giving anything back. There was no equity. There was no, here, have a product in the mail. It was, do you believe in us? Do you believe in what we're doing? And would you like to support it? And that was amazing. I think from there, we were able to kind of see the traction that we had given ourselves and move forward with that. A lot of it's bootstrap, but a lot of it is also finding the right people that believe in what you're doing. I've put in a lot of my own money, and I've, you know, gone through family as well. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to negotiate no interest loans, but it's difficult. I mean, cash is king, and cash flow, even when sales are good, can still kill a business.
Absolutely.
That cash isn't yours yet, and you need it. So I think invoice finance is something that people should look into if they have a kind of business that's set up for that, because it's, you know, a very small fee in exchange for getting your money back straight away. So you know the capital that you have to work with, and you can then budget and move yourself forward.
I think it's interesting you say there about cash flow, because you know, when I say about 94% of businesses failing in first 5 years, it's usually not necessarily because they're not profitable, but it's because they run out of cash. So certainly managing cash flow is one of those key ingredients, and certainly the invoice financing route is certainly a good option for businesses. And if you're not particularly good at credit control, it also helps with that, because the financiers will, if you set yourself up in the right arrangement, you know, they'll always take care of all of that for you. So I think that's quite interesting advice there. You've managed to raise your own profile in pretty big ways, I would say. I think you were given airtime on the BBC, and one of the things I do talk about a lot at the Business Growth Summit is about how you can position yourself and how you can become that sort of key person of influence within your industry and raise your profile. How have you gone about achieving, you know, raising your own profile?
Well, I think what's important is that before you go out and get really excited about getting your profile out there and getting your products or your services out into the world, you need to make sure that you're actually aligned for that. So one of the first things that we did before we even started to try and get myself out there or the products out there was sort out our distribution. Because the last thing you want to do is have everyone screaming your name and screaming about your business, but nobody knows how to get in touch with you. They don't know how to find your products. And, you know, a lot of the times you get one chance at this. So if you mess that up and you frustrate people at the very beginning, then it might not work for you. So we first did that. Then we started to work with trade press. So this was business to business, how we can actually get our products into more stores, in front of more buyers, and make sure that the interest is there and that the belief is there. Once we had that down, we then moved into consumer press. So we actually work with the consumer press company that helps us on our behalf put together a strategy of what stories we're telling and when we're telling them to make sure that it makes sense. And it's also good to focus on your regional, your local media first, because you can use that as proof of traction and validation to then start pitching that to the nationals and to people that you know, you really want to get in touch with.
Yeah, indeed.
We were really fortunate with the BBC because Nigel Barden was still a part of their programs, Simon Mayo's Drive Time on the Thursdays, and then he also had a bit of a slot on the BBC Radio London. I met him at a trade show that I was at, and, you know, just did that thing of, hey, I know that you probably get this all the time, But it would be really cool if you enjoyed what we have to offer and you buy into our story, if you would, shout about us a little. And one thing led to another, and I saw him again at another trade show, and I was quite a prominent speaker at that one as well. So we got to talking, and he decided that he wanted to take it all the way through to Simon Mayo. So, it's about working those connections, not being afraid. There's a saying up here in Newcastle, which is shy barns getting out. And so you have to be a bit cheeky, but I think also, be honest. Don't try and, say something that you're not, because it'll come back and bite you. And make sure that you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And also have a clear understanding of how you can track the return on any investment that you do within these PR and promotionals.
Interesting, interesting advice there. Lizzy, it's been really, really good to talk with you. Thank you ever so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks' time.
You too. See you soon.
Cheers. See you soon.